Here.
We know she's here, but.
Here.
And Bishop Hankerson. Very good. Thank you. And Bishop Hankerson, we do not have. Okay. We have a quorum.
All right. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to just apologize to fellow board members. I've been on the road pretty much nonstop the last couple of weeks, and so if I was slow in getting back to you, Nina, especially because we were in touch about some things, I apologize. Okay, thank you. Why don't we go ahead and begin just by approving last month's meeting minutes. I hope everyone had a chance to take a look at them. I would move for the approval of those meeting minutes. Is there a second?
Second, Dr. Garza.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right. Penny?
Dr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Rios?
Aye.
Dr. Garza?
Aye.
Dr. McBride?
Aye.
Dr. Cunningham?
Aye.
All right. Looks like we have unanimously approved last month's meeting minutes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is something that has been a particular interest of mine for the last 3.5 years as we've worked on this board. We're going to be talking, we're hearing from Nate Hayward, who leads up DJS programs. We had a chance over about 6 months ago, was that about 6 months ago when you interviewed?
Yes.
To hear more about kind of your vision and just hear more from all the interviewees about kind of different visions for where people wanted to go. It's been, I know, a passion of yours, Scott, to try to bring more opportunities into the jail, particularly educational opportunities and vocational training opportunities. And so since we've been talking about, we've been hearing a lot from you about different initiatives that you wanted to embark on. I kind of have wanted, while I very much applaud all the different efforts, I think I wanted to take a point to kind of take inventory and just hear from Mr. Hayward about what we were doing, the efficacy of different things, how different things were going. I think at some point probably it would behoove us, in the next year to say, here are the 7 different things we introduced. Here are the 4, here's the feedback we're getting. Here are the ones that have been received well. Here's the ones that we haven't had as much participation in, so that we don't have staff going in too many different directions. So that's kind of the context in which I wanted to just, get kind of a progress report, if you will, and understand better about everything that's going on. So with that preview,
Okay.
take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. First of all, I just want to say good morning to everyone. I appreciate you guys allowing me to come in today and share with you all the programs that we have going on in justice services. Yesterday, Ms. Penny Martin sent out an email to everyone about some of the programs I have. I also have some folders for you guys if you want to follow along with some of the stuff that I have going on in the jail. Here you go. Thank you. Yeah. So, like Dr. Smith was saying, I received this job 6 months ago, and first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Major Nate Hayward. I'm acting superintendent of community corrections right now also. I just want you all to know, when I got promoted 6 months ago, I met with Mr. Anders and discussed all the different things that we talked about programs and everything that I was looking forward to bring to the justice services. And I have to say, last 6 months, we brought a lot of stuff to justice services. So first, I want to start with some resources that I received from social services. If you guys see the child support first page, we met them at a meeting that we had about 2 months ago, and this was a meeting about something else, and I wound up getting a whole lot of different resources from them after that meeting was over about the guarding that we've been working on. But I'm gonna get to the guarding later. This is some things that they contact me later about. So right now we have resources for people that have problem with the child support. If you look at this page, you have different things that they can do. So I pass this out to all the staff members to pass out to the residents at the jail. If you look at the pamphlet, it's got different things of what they can help them with. Legal representative, they have Head Start, helping them with Head Start. And all these resources are free also. You know, everything on this page is free. So the people from social services, they really took time out with me and went through all these different resources on this page here. And so I shared it with my staff, and now we have a lot of people that contact their family on the outside and letting them know that they can get these different services that they didn't know anything about. So that was a good resource that we received from social services. And also, they gave me this other page here. This is the one about the statewide team assistant program called SNAP. This is one to help people with food stamps and different things like that. People with low income, eligibility, EBT cards, say how you can apply. So this was another helpful resource that they helped us with. So a lot of residents was excited about this also. This helped out a lot of people with their families and stuff. So a lot of residents, you know, when I see them out in the hall, they always stop me and ask me about different things about this paper here because it helps with health care. So people that didn't have health care once before now is able to get health care. Like I said, the food assistant, the child care, temporary cash for the family, and they also have things for like blind services and all type of different things to help low-income families. So this is another helpful resource that we receive also. If you guys, whenever you get time, you can look through this, all the different resources. So this is some of the stuff that I wanted to share first before we get into the real detail of a lot of programs that's going on in the jail.
A couple of just very quick legislative update around SNAP. Right now, Missouri prohibits anyone with a second drug offense from receiving food stamps.
Oh, okay.
But legislation has passed the House and the Senate, separate legislation, so we need to get this bill that passed the House through the Senate or the bill that passed the Senate through the House. But legislation has passed through both chambers, which would remove that lifetime prohibition on food stamps for felony drug offenders. So, you know, hopefully I'll have good news for you in the next 6 weeks in that regard, which will help people, a lot of folks here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Also, if anyone have any questions or anything, just stop me, you know, because I want you guys to ask questions. If you have any, just go ahead and stop me anytime. So the next thing is I wanted to share with you all. I believe you have something about the classes, the college classes that we have going on right now. We just finished up our first set of college classes. It went very well. We had a total of, I believe it was 12. Yeah, it was 12 of them. 12 people in that college class, and everyone grades was excellent, from 90 to 100. So everyone passed, so they received 6-hour credit for that class. And now we started the second class, so we have 2 classes going now. So we have them on Monday and Wednesday. We have a class
tell us more about the curriculum?
Yes, I have it right here. So we have the Monday, Wednesday is the reading class, and then we have the sociology class. That's Monday, Wednesday. So it's an 8 weeks class. We have it it's 8 in the morning to 10:45, and then it's 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday. And then on Tuesday, Thursday, we have the history and oral communication class, and that's from 1 to 3. So Tuesday and Thursday, that's the class for that.
And are there different students in the Monday, Wednesday versus Tuesday, Thursday?
Yes, yes it is. So here's
Can you
the schedule. Oh, good, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Which page are you on? I'm trying to follow you
Okay.
in the document. I'm sorry.
So I didn't have a page for the college class. I just have the schedule for the college class. Yeah. For that, I just had the pages for this, for the social services. Yeah. But that, the paper that I'm going off is the paper that I had, like, for my notes. Yeah. So that's what I was going on.
Got it. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're okay. Yeah, you're all right. But, yeah, so this is the schedule that we have right now. If you want to take a look at it, Doc.
So this semester, we have right at 20 students enrolled in college courses.
Yeah.
So it's up from the 12 of last semester,
Right.
offering 4 different courses.
That's great.
Yeah. And so that's the schedule. So that's the morning and afternoon. So that's the schedule that we have. So basically, we try to make sure everyone get in the class at least 15 minutes early before the professor. So that's why you see it's 8 o'clock, but I try to get them up there about 7:45.
Okay.
Yeah, and then,
And so these are St. Louis Community College professors
Yes.
coming in to teach?
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
And also, we had a interview with the professors on the website, Dr. Sam Page's website. They did an interview. If you guys take a chance and look at that, she did an excellent job on the interview talking about the classes. I believe that's, what's her name that did the interview? Elizabeth. Yeah, Elizabeth did the interview with her, and that came out real well.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of people commented and everything on that, on the interviews. Okay. Yeah.
So what kind of feedback are we getting from the detainees who are enrolled?
Oh, everyone's excited about it. Matter of fact, one resident, he did an interview also with Elizabeth, and he talked about how, you know, he never thought he'd be in college. When we gave them the exception letter, letting them know that they was accepted to college, oh, these guys was excited. You know, everyone started calling home, letting their parents know, you know, they're in college now, and they're doing, you know, real good. And it kind of helped out in the jail, you know, because the thing is, I give everyone a speech that they have to keep their behavior down. If they get in trouble or anything, they can't participate in the class. So the guys that's in the class, you know, try to stay out of trouble, you know, and they make sure, you know, they don't get in trouble. I think we lost one person that got in trouble out of all the guys that's in the class, you know, so it's been going pretty good.
That's good. So in addition to being rewarding for them and stimulating, it's behavior modification tool as well.
Yes, and that's true. And that's basically how I go down the list, try to pick the people for the class, because, you know, you have people sign up, and then we vet them going through and seeing everyone's behavior and everything like that, trying to see if we could get, you know, guys to motivate them from staying out of trouble. So that's basically what we try to do.
All right.
Yeah.
What's next?
Okay. Okay, so the page right here on the first page after all the programs, this is some of the stuff that I was going to show you guys before I jumped ahead of myself. The overall jail programs up top, yeah, just turn that page right there, Doc. Yeah, that front page, yeah. So this is the front page that you guys can follow, then I'll go back to the other stuff that I jumped to. So it's a list of different programs that we have going on right now. The St. Louis Prison Education Program, that's another excellent program that we have going on in the jail. A lot of guys really enjoy that, you know. And let me say this too also. Most of all these programs, these guys look forward to, you know, getting in there, getting in class and enjoy it. They really enjoy it. I know Mr. Holman, and he usually come up there with me, with these guys, and see the excitement that they have, because most of the professors that's in these classes are real friendly, and they're excited about being here. You know, because when they first came to the jail, the lady, what's her name, the one that's
Perkins?
Miss Perkins. She said, well, I'm gonna have to get some instructors that really want to come into the jail, because we never did this before. And when she put it out, so many professors put in and said, yeah, I try it, I'll do it. And now when they first came in, they was a little nervous. And we talked to them and let them know, you know, we'll be inside, moving back and forth with them. If they have any problems, you know, we show them the emergency button. I told them if they have any questions about anyone in here, anyone disrespect them, just please let us know, because we're going to remove them, you know, make an announcement right in front of her, letting all the residents know, you know, we're going to make sure we're on our best behavior, and we're not going to disrespect none of the staff. And so far, you know, it's been pretty good. Everyone in there been very helpful with the professors, and they say they really care about these guys. The one guy that I put out, the professor, she wrote me a long letter asking can he come back, because he's such a good guy and everything. I told him, I'm sorry, you know, I appreciate everything that she said, but we got to look at the security side of it.
Right.
You know, so I told her we appreciate everything she said about this guy, but he can't come back.
Okay.
Yeah, so, any questions so far? We good? Okay. Yeah, so if you look going down the line, we have St. Louis Career Fair. You know, that's when we have St. Louis youth come in and do a career fair, you know, try to set these guys up for when they get ready to get out, and set them up with jobs and stuff like that, so. And
Right, they're doing the video job interviews.
right, yes, and well, you know for yourself, I'm getting ready to jump ahead, but with the ServSafe, when we had that, all the jobs that the guys, when they got out of jail, you know, they received jobs. I had a couple of guys that went down to the Ritz-Carlton and was cooking down there. I don't know if they're still there or not, but, you know, we had the Ballpark Village after Channel 4, yeah, that about the graduation. Matter of fact, I think you need to speak, yeah. And so a lot of the guys got jobs at Ballpark Village, some of the hotels downtown. So it really helped and it benefit, you know, some of these guys. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen them return back to the jail yet. So that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. So in that vein, how you referenced your staff.
Mm-hmm.
So how many people do you have on your team?
On my team totally? You know what I mean? Because
Like who help you with this stuff?
I have Missy, she's the volunteer coordinator.
Okay.
I have Dean.
Yeah, I met her.
Yeah, Dean Bruman, he's the supervisor down in the Choices area on second floor. You know, he usually comes up and help out. I have Mario Reed, he's the acting case manager.
Mario.
Yeah, so he helps out a great deal. So, like I said, I have a good supporting staff that comes and makes sure we try to get these guys up there. And then I also have, you know, Superintendent Reed that comes up and makes sure we have everyone, you know, from the units, because a lot of times the officers don't have them out the housing units, so we have to go in and get the guys because they be so busy up on the floor. So it's a good help supporting staff that's in here. So
my kind of bigger question, like longer term question is there capacity here at the jail, and this might be too idealistic, but is there capacity to follow up with people after they leave? I would just love to know 3 months later, 6 months later, if they've been able to stick in a job. Or, yeah, Randy?
May I answer that?
Yeah.
The reason I wanting to answer that is we're addressing that right now.
Okay.
One of the things Director Anders got started is we're in the process of applying for a second chance grant. And that is a component of the grant, is putting in place protocols to track the success of the program. It's one thing to say
Yeah.
you're going to have a program,
Exactly.
but you have to be able to identify it. So we've already, through working with St. Louis Community College, we're putting in place ways and methodologies to track the success of these individuals, not only while they're here, but after they leave this facility.
Okay, that's great. That's what I wanted to know, because I'd love to be able to, you know, have, whether it's us or our successors, you know, on the board, look at some data in,
Yes.
you know, 2 years from now and say, you know, these two programs, people ended up in jobs and 75% of them, you know, remained steadily employed 24 months later. This program didn't seem to be working because only 15% of people were, you know, still in jobs 2 years later. So I'd love, can you keep us updated as you build out that capacity for follow-up with people?
Yeah, we'll be happy to do that. And like I said, we're in the early stages of the grant application.
Okay.
Actually, it's not the early stages, it's due at the end of next week.
Okay,
But yeah, that is a component of it.
okay, good. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're all right. So also, with that question what you just asked, I have at least 10 guys that call me at least once a month, you know, and check in and just, for no reason. I mean, they don't have to do this, but they usually call me and thank me and let me know that they appreciate everything we've done, you know, helping them out, getting them a job and stuff like that. So just answering your question on some note, because like Mr. Holtman said, once we get that grant, we could really, you know, follow up on individuals. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I believe that, having been to some of the graduations and,
Yeah.
and seen how appreciative folks are. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No,
Go ahead.
that,
Oh, Doctor, I'm sorry, Dr. Cunningham, go ahead.
That's okay. Thank you. Let me try to lower the hand. Perfect. Mr. Hayward, I have a question, and just more so for clarification, and as I'm trying to understand the justice services side of things. But is there a reason why, if they get in trouble, then they're no longer allowed in the college program? I just want to understand it a little bit better and wonder what's the criteria for that, and why do we have that in place for someone that's enrolled in college?
well, the thing is, when they like try to, like the one guy, he almost broke the tablet. He took it and threw it for no reason. You know, he was just upset and angry because, you know, I was in there and I asked him to just go ahead and study and stop, you know, yelling inside the class. So he picked up the tablet and just threw it and started cursing me out. So, you know, I had him removed from the class. You know, and that type of behavior, we can't, you know, allow that, because the tablets are pretty expensive. So, you know, we had to get the tablet checked out, make sure he didn't damage it, anything like that. So that's the type of behavior that I'm talking about, you know, trying to get them to realize how important it is that you can't do that type of, you know, behavior inside the class. And the thing also, you know, if he's gonna do something like that while I'm in the class, you know, what are you gonna do when the professor in there by herself? You know, so we can't allow that to happen, because we have to look after the professors. You know, we gotta make sure nothing happened to them.
Okay, that's understandable. I was just wondering about this, and I just wanted clarification. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And the thing is about that also, the major on the floor informed me that this guy have issues. And so I told the major on the floor, I said, well, let's just give him a chance and see how it works out for him. And so that was his opportunity to prove to that major that he's going to do good. But into the program, I say about 3 or 4 weeks into the program, you know, he did that. You know, so he proved me wrong. You know, I gave him a shot to go ahead and get his.
Did we connect him to like behavioral health services on the correctional medicine side and alert the correctional medicine staff that this is somebody who need additional behavioral health support? Because we have group therapy and other sessions going on, or connecting him with one of the psychiatrists. Did we consider that for him?
Yes, good question. So what we did was, even though he's with mental health already,
I wouldn't talk about an individual resident.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Like, so generally, what would you do in these circumstances?
Oh, yes, yeah. So
I-
basically,
Next year, I just want general. Yeah, I don't need to know this person.
yeah,
Like, in
yeah.
general, there's things that come up. Do we connect them or collaborate?
Yes,
with
we
them?
connect them. Yes, we did. Yep. Yes, he was connected, so.
One thing I'd like to add also is the goal with all of these programs are for them to continue on, just like with voting, we want them to be able to vote, experience what their process is like. So with college, we want them to experience what it's like here, knowing that we want them to continue when they get out, and that type of behavior wouldn't be allowed even in a college class out of the community.
That's true.
Okay.
No, thank you for the discussion. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, and then, going down the list, I want to go to the Relink, program that we have here. This is a program that we started, virtually. And once the jail was allowed to have programs inside the jail, we was allowed to let them in. They started off with the, institutional workers first. You know, that was the unit that I was over before I received my promotion. And it was such a great program that it went to, now they going through the whole jail now, going to all the floors and doing an excellent job with all the different residents that's in the jail. So that's another excellent program that we have here. Career coaching, we have mentoring people that come in and help and mentor some of these guys and, you know, help with coaching them and different things. We have this financial literacy is basically with the Choices program. They come in and try to help the Choices guys and ladies before they leave the institution, and they run their credit for them and let them know, you know, what their credit score is and, you know, what they can do when they get out, how to help them get established and different things like that. So we basically try to help the Choices program before they leave the institution. Okay. And
who leads the Choices?
Who's Choices? Dane Brunerman is downstairs, but Beverly Foutte is she was the lady that really ran the Choices program.
Okay.
Yeah, downstairs. And I know you've been with the Choices program.
I've visited.
Visited before?
Yeah, before. And I would love to understand a little more about that, specifically around substance use disorder, right?
Yes.
And yeah, that would be, you know, I would love to have, not just for, you know, the ones that we talked about, the employment-oriented ones, but also for things like Choices. I would love to have, you know, I think it would be great to have some kind of comprehensive data collection 6 months and 12 months after people get out, you know, to the extent practicable. I know it's not easy, and I know people have changing contact information and all that, but, you know, just so that we can better assess the longer-term impact of some of the curriculum and say, you know, should we look at something different? Is this, you know, maybe this is working great, maybe it's not. So anyway, I just know from dealing with some, you know, knowing some of the other programmatic folks that come in and work on employment stuff, and knowing that some of their people who have gone through Choices have struggled.
Yes.
I would just love to get a, you know, some kind of more comprehensive assessment so that we could just, you know, so that periodically you guys could, you know, say, hey, like, is this curriculum best practices? How's it working for us? Is it culturally competent? Is it, you know, like all those things to make sure that we're, you know, because you guys are putting a lot of energy and a lot of time into all this, which I think the whole board really appreciates. I know I do. So since we're, you know, so let's just do, I want to make sure that all that energy and time and resources is expended in the most effective way possible.
Yeah.
I'll get off my soapbox.
No. So I'll just go and answer your question on that. We have WashU does a study for the Choices program, and it stopped during the pandemic. And I believe Nathan, they get ready to start it back up. Yeah, it started back up now. So yeah, so that
Contracted with them on that.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You're a step ahead of me.
Oh, no, you're all right. Yeah, yep, you're okay. So going down the list, I'm trying to, pick some of the stuff that we have going on. We have like plenty of ministry classes. Mission Gate, is on here. Mission Gate is another place that a lot of the residents go once they get out of the county jail. They have like a living area for people that want to get off of drugs and get their life back together. That's a program that a lot of our guys go to. It's a process that they have to fill out the application, and the case manager on the floor have to go through it, and we mail it back to Mission Gate, and then Mission Gate will let us know if he or she got accepted. So that's another great program that we have here. The AA, CA, a lot of volunteers that come in, and I just want to say all these programs are basically a lot of people that comes in and volunteer on their own time, and we greatly appreciate that, because a lot of times the weather's bad, and they come out here in the snow, the rain, and everything. So I know we haven't had a volunteer luncheon, anything like that before. So I talked to Mr. Holman asking, can we, start that back up also, just to, let them know how much we appreciate them coming out and doing the stuff that they do. So turning to the next page. So we have the HiSET program, and that's a great program also, because a lot of people that's in our college class, I believe the first class, Mr. Holman, all of them, they came from the HiSET program that we have here. So once they receive their GED, we get their transcript, because a lot of guys, they have to have their transcripts to go to the college class. So this allows us to get their transcript ASAP, once they receive their GED, Missy, she'll go on the computer and pull up everyone's transcript. And so now, for the second class, we receive a lot of residents that did get their family member, somebody to get their transcript. And then Nathan, our finance guy, he just told me 2 weeks ago that I can go ahead and get it, because it's like $7 or something like that. So now we could get it ourselves, transcript that people went to high school and got their diploma. So before, we couldn't do it. So now we can help guys get their transcript a little faster. Yeah, looked like you had a question.
I'm good.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
You guys want to jump in, or you guys good?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then the anger management class, that's what I was going to answer to you, Doc, when you was asking about that also. We had, I made sure this guy get accepted to anger management class. And so that's what he's into that class now, the anger management class, to try to help him solve some of the issues. Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. And then going to the 6th floor, Pathway Homes, making it work. That's another program that a lot of guys enjoy. That was a program that I had for the institutional workers also, that now is on every floor. Every floor has the Relink program.
What is Pathway to Home? I don't know what that is.
Okay, so Pathway Home is a program that they help guys with their resumes,
okay,
and help them, when they get out into society. They go get in touch with them, and they help them once they get out on the street with getting different things. That actually they do a whole lot of different things with getting a license, getting Social Security cards. Basically, like a lot of guys don't have birth certificates,
yeah,
and different things like that. So they help a lot of different areas of resources for these guys.
That's good. Is that external? Is that someone who comes in to the jail?
Well, they inside the jail. They matter of fact, they on zero, so they just come up to the floors You know, so yeah, I think they have a staff about 10 people, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty good program. You know, the guys really enjoy it. You know, when you go up to the floors, you see them inside the classes, and, you know, you see the guys, you know, laughing and, you know, joking, because I think they do different type of exercises and stuff like that to get people to open up, to talk more. So,
Okay.
pretty good program. Okay. And then, we have a mental health group now also that comes in, and does class with, guys. You know, we have the mental health team that, see people individually, but this is a group that comes and see guys and they talk to them about different things. I never really, went inside because it's like a privacy thing. So basically, you know, they don't really want staff to be inside. The fathering class is a pretty good class for guys to help them prepare when they get out, to help them with how to be a father, and that's a good program also. A lot of guys love going to that class also. Really good class for them. We already talked about the Serve Safe class. That class was an excellent class. We had like 40 people that took the first test, the food handling test, and all 40 people passed for the food handling part. 20 people passed for the management part of the test, and that was the management part was the part when you could get a job as a manager at these fancy hotels and restaurants and stuff like that. So basically that was I believe a 6 weeks class. Another one was 4 weeks. Yeah, that was a 4 weeks class for the first part of it. So the 8 weeks class was the management part was pretty. The 6 weeks class was pretty tense, you know, and a lot of information. And a lot of, like I said, 20 of them did pass, and they did excellent on the test. But the other 20, you know, they didn't pass. But we had the graduation. When you came, that was a pretty good graduation also. We had a nice turnout on that. But basically, like I said, the management got guys that passed that test, and also the guys that got the food handling past that part, they got jobs outside, so, you know, help prepare them to go out and get jobs. So, you know, we want to get that going again also. Once we get, you know, whoever take over the food services, we talked about that, so we're going to get that going again. Yeah, get that class going.
Okay, this is a lot. Anything else you want to?
Yeah, basically I want to touch on, before, you know, we stop, I want to touch on this barber class, because this is a class that is going real well. Matter of fact, we have 3 more classes left, and then the graduation is April the 4th is going to be the graduation. I think Elizabeth told me last week, because they came over and took some pictures, that's going to be on the website, and they took some good pictures. So thank you guys for look over that when that comes out, because that was pretty nice also. And then they got to talk to some of the residents that, you know, that was cutting hair. So it's a pretty good thing. They, you know, they had like 4 weeks. It's a 5 weeks class. They did 3 weeks in class work, and then 2 weeks of cutting. So that's what we at now. They cutting hair. So what I did was I got the institutional workers that wanted to volunteer, that came inside and got their hair cut, you know, during the time that they was cutting. So all that stuff was pretty good. Yeah. Yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you read about all this stuff with robots, that's being able to do everything. I don't think robots are ever going to be able to cut our hair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep.
So, yeah, there is a lot of stuff going on. I know, but I also know that it's got to be a ton of work for you to manage all those different things and to kind of oversee all those different programs. So, yeah, so maybe a good thing to do kind of over the course of the year will be to say, you know, where is our time best spent, and what are what's producing the best results, what's getting the best feedback, the highest participation, because I'm just sure it's very difficult to manage all these different programs. I want to open it up to the rest of the board to give thoughts, ask questions. Okay.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
one thing that is important to note too is we have over 200 volunteers now that help with these programs. So when Nate shared information about the requirements of staff, we're fortunate to have a lot of community agencies providing people to come in. We have a Department of Labor 4-year grant to provide job readiness training. The students from St. Louis University came in and helped the people for the video interviews. So none of this would be possible without all the volunteers.
Yeah. Good. Dr. Cunningham, I think you had something a minute ago?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to applaud Director Anders and his team. This is amazing to be able to go beyond to offer these services to individuals and inside of a correctional facility. And it just, I'm excited to learn more about the services that we offer and that we are actually intentionally concerned about the individual and caring for them. And so I just think that's amazing to be able to offer that on the justice services side. So Director Anders, I just appreciate this. And I've been telling everyone, I appreciate our collaboration to be able to deliver wraparound services and care to the people that we take care of. I just want to say that I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
And I also appreciate kind of the framing of it, as you know, as kind of you said, like we want to whet their appetite and expose them to all these things that, you know, a lot of them probably didn't get, you know, like you said, when they got their acceptance letter to college,
Yes.
you know, they had never had that experience before, so they're excited about that. So it's great to see, and hopefully these things will inspire folks to make different choices when they get home. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
For the presentation.
No problem.
Yeah, for what you do every day.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we move to the next agenda item, a little bit less inspiring, which is, you know, some of the challenges that we've had over the last several months in terms of, you know, the incident a few months ago and how we've responded in terms of safety policies for officers.
Yes, I think first of all, these programs that Nate just shared with you and the great work that his team are doing, actually these types of programs result in safer operations here. So the use of the assaults on staff have decreased by 60%, the use of force are down by 30%, and even assaults by residents on residents is down by 30%. So those, and the tablets that we have, the violations have decreased substantially because of those tablets being implemented. And I also want to recognize Ray Barnes, who's on the meeting today. He's working behind the scenes each time that we have one of these meetings, and he is retiring next week after 28 years of service here to Justice Services. Ray, are you able to pop up on video?
I am here. I do not have my video camera connected though.
Okay, well, we want to thank you, Ray, for all your work. I remember one day you were on a float trip and you came all the way back to help with something here. So you've been invaluable for many years here, and we wish you the best and want to congratulate you on your retirement.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. It's been nice working with you guys, and thanks for everything you do for the Justice Center as an advisory board group.
But just recently,
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, just recently, Ray has improved and continued to enhance the quality of our video security here. And there's a lot of technology that's put into place, and even to be able to do college classes, he's been able to establish secure ways of us doing that. So that's all important to safety, and it's kind of behind the scenes that many people may not know about. In regard to making sure that we're keeping drugs out of the facility, because a lot of violations tend to be related to substance abuse, we have 2 canines now, added a canine that can help us search for drugs. And when people come into the intake area, we have a body scanner that is used to scan each person coming into the facility to make sure that they're not bringing in contraband, including drugs. We have a mail scanner now also that is scanning mail, because a lot of drugs are entering correctional facilities now in liquid form on paper. K2 especially is difficult to detect, so the canines are in the intake area where most drugs would come into the facility. They can tour those areas regularly and make sure that those drugs are not even entering beyond that area. We also are in the process of revising policies, and soon we'll have new policies on response to subject behavior and how we respond to things. The use of force policy has already been changed, and our review of that has to be done within 5 days by the superintendent of security, and then we want training to be conducted anytime there's anything that can be learned, not just if it's inappropriate use of force, but anytime that there's an opportunity to provide training. We also have added a second lieutenant on each floor, so we have 2 lieutenants on each floor. We have 2 officers in each pod when there's large numbers of people out, but also I've asked that their names be listed on the ship report so that we have a record now of who those 2 staff were and who was observed by the watch commander during their tours. We have expanded our training on safety. We had a group that went through an NIC training for safety matters. We were one of 6 facilities in the United States that had that opportunity for training. We also have a PREA coordinator that has now been scheduled for an NIC PREA training. All of those, that's Prison Rape Elimination Act. So we've also participated in some national focus groups with Bureau of Justice Assistance on how to implement processes for a national hotline that could be called. And we have had training,
like a hotline that could be called by someone who is a victim inside.
Yes.
So that they would have privacy and not
if they
have confidentiality.
Just another way that they could report this. So
if they're afraid that reporting of the normal chain here is not going to result in the outcome they want, they could have an outside report. Okay,
that's right.
That's good.
So we also have had a refresher training for defensive tactics for staff. We have expanded our defensive tactics training for new staff. We also have developed training on how to communicate, because a lot of challenges that can occur can be diffused just by how we communicate with people in the first place and how we respond. We also are working on, we implemented a line that is a painted line that goes around the station where officers work inside the housing units. That's a boundary. There's now a visual boundary that people must stay behind, and that is, we have added a 3rd officer into the infirmary. That was recommended by CGL. And so, really, all of these processes combined are making our facility much safer. And I'd like to add, just with our accreditation review by the American Correctional Association, many of those standards are based on safety and security, and it shows that we've made tremendous improvements in this area.
That is good to see. Good to see that out of some difficult, painful incidents, we were working to make broader systemic change coming out of that stuff. What questions do board members have about some of the policy changes and new trainings that are being implemented?
Hey, Jeff, I got my hand raised. Could I jump in?
Of course.
So thank you, Director Anders, for that report. And Ray, thank you for your service. Appreciate everything you've done. And if you could refresh me on this incident, and I'm sorry if I don't have it all implanted on my brain. And if some of this, I think I can ask these questions. And again, my memory of this incident is that I was really appreciative of the fact that the residents actually came forward and helped. So I think that was one of the really good things about this incident. But can you tell me how fast, I have kind of maybe two questions. How fast did the other officers respond? How much time passed before the other officers came in to the unit? And then secondly, I think the main thing from a policy point of view, our job is to make sure policies we advise you on policies. So are we certain that they'll be followed in the future?
Unfortunately,
makes sense.
Because of the personnel situation that's involved with that, I can't talk about that specific situation. I can tell you that we respond very quickly, and the research shows that when you have a second person, people don't even initiate any kind of situation like that. And we also having the two lieutenants now on each floor, along with the unit manager, we have people that always respond within seconds.
Okay, so you can't really say about this incident yet. Still being investigated?
It's really because of the personnel matters that are involved with it.
Okay. Do you feel confident, though, that going forward that policies will be followed?
I am confident that the policies are being followed much more than they have been in the past 20 years here in this facility.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding CO safety policies? Okay, thank you for that report. Let's move to the next agenda item, which is a discussion of the advisory board's mission and mission statement. Nina has kind of, as a newer board member, has kind of asked about, what's historic, have we had a formal mission statement? We do not have one that's formally approved by all of us right now. And so, when I became board chair, I informally talked with board members kind of about where I kind of wanted to go, and we talked about working to make this facility the most safe, humane, and rehabilitative correctional facility in the country as kind of, a mission. But I would love to maybe to charge you, Nina, with working on a new mission statement by engaging all board members and working with me to come up with something that hopefully we can approve at our next meeting. Would you be willing to accept that charge?
Yes, I'm happy to do that.
Do you have initial, thank you. Do you have initial thoughts, and do other board members have, kind of preliminary seeds that they want to plant with Nina as she works on something?
I've got a couple of initial thoughts. Sorry, I'm recovering from a sinus infection, but I feel okay. So I just wanted to point out that at the end of the bylaws, they do state that we should have a mission statement that is adopted and reviewed periodically. So that is what we will be fulfilling by doing this. I feel like I saw saw a mission statement maybe during the application process, but I'm not sure. So I just wanted to double check with all the other board members who applied if they saw someone in that Google platform, like saw a mission statement.
So, yeah, it may have been the aforementioned statement that I made and you know, wrote a few sentences on when I became board chair, and kind of alluded to as, you know, a mission that you know, we discussed at the first meeting when I became chair, but that's the one, you know, it may have been that, it may not have been, but we will, maybe if you could send a draft out, if we could say 2 weeks before the next board meeting, so like at the midpoint between this meeting and next meeting, so 2 Fridays from now.
I would say that the board should not be discussing something outside of.
Okay, if you could individually, send me an individual draft, then that would be great, and I can work with you to have individual discussions with individual board members.
Again, I would say.
I mean, we have conversations. I have conversations with all the board members individually, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that can help us kind of make sure that we're, you know, communicating informally and making sure that we're not blindsiding one another at the next meeting.
Gotcha. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, great. Thank you for taking the lead on that, Nina. And you also, you know, segueing into the next item, brought to our attention that we should probably have a revision to our bylaws around subcommittees. And you brought some, you know, you kind of suggested some language for that. We have language around committees and our subcommittees and task forces. And do you want to read kind of your, you know, either give us your thoughts or read your kind of suggestions for potentially changing the bylaws?
Sure. So Article 8 is called Committees and Task Forces, and the current language reads as the board may establish temporary committees or task forces in order to fulfill its mission and to study specific issues, complete necessary assignments, and report back to the board. All meetings shall be subject to the same provisions of the law as to open and close meetings and will conclude when the specific task or study is completed. My current suggestion is, and I can share my screen if that's possible, or...
I think that's fine.
Okay. There we go. I don't know why it's shaking like that. Almost like it doesn't work. All right. There we go. Okay. So the new language is in blue. I'm recommending that we change it to the board will establish subcommittees in the areas of training, staffing, and healthcare, each member serving on one. Each subcommittee will meet quarterly directly after the regular meeting. If an adverse event or issue or incident occurs, I'm not sure about the language there, the relevant subcommittee will meet after that month's general meeting or is called for by a quorum of board members. And then to just kind of insert it back into the established language, just adding also to that second paragraph and then temporary to that third paragraph. And that is what I'm offering at this time. And of course, it is open to, you know, refinements, edits, discussions, concerns, and all that you would like to share.
So what are board members' thoughts about making this change to kind of institutionalize the subcommittees?
Seems to make sense to me. And I really appreciate everything Nina's doing on this. That's why we need new blood every once in a while. So.
Did you say why we need a lawyer every once in a while?
No, I said it's why we need new blood every once in a while.
Oh, new blood. Oh.
Not like us old parts, Jeff, so we need some new people. So.
Definitely.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would just ask that you give the county councilor's office the opportunity to review anything that is proposed for bylaw revisions, and if necessary, that our office can provide legal advice to the board at a later meeting in closed session.
Okay, so would it be your preference that we not take a vote right now, but allow you to review them and then take the vote at the next meeting?
Yes, and allow us to provide, at the next meeting, to provide, if necessary, any legal advice necessary in closed session.
Okay, so why don't, Nina?
And I would say that in regard to the mission statement as well.
Okay.
Proposing a mission statement.
Okay, so why don't we do this, Nina? Let's say 2 weeks from today, if you could get, why don't we actually, say 2 weeks from today, if you could, get me drafts of those 2 items, and then I will work on consensus building, with the board, and then we'll ensure that the county councilor's office has time to review potential changes so that we can vote on both, hopefully at the next board meeting. Okay?
Mr. Chair, to reiterate, I would advise against discussion, even if there are all separate conversations about the same matter among the board members outside of the open meeting.
Thank you for the advice. All right. Anything else on that?
You'll have it by April 7th.
Great. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Why don't we move on to the next item, behavioral health urgent care tour that Scott, you're going to tell us about.
Yeah, Dr. Garza has coordinated a visit for us to a behavioral health urgent care center on April 4th. So Dr. Cunningham and I and someone from the prosecutor's office, someone from Health and Human Services, and Nina Riaz are all planning to attend. And our goal is to learn more about how this facility, which was created just to provide behavioral health services for people and divert them from emergency rooms, might be developed to provide a mental health diversion center for our system. And so we spoke about this at the Crime Commission meeting, the first Crime Commission meeting that County Executive Sam Page convened, and plan to follow up soon after this visit with plans to potentially either partner with a facility like this or to look toward developing something ourselves.
Alex, anything on your end?
No, I think Scott covered it well.
Okay, great. Thank you, and thanks for, giving us updates on progress in this regard and for kind of bringing the concept to us in the first place.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Garza and Nina.
All right, Aaron, dashboard time.
Okay, let me pull it up. Is this displaying properly?
It is displaying fine once you click on got it. Or, I mean,
Might be you, yeah.
My bad.
Are we good to go?
We are good to go.
Okay. So first, I do want to apologize about that delay with the medical data. I think it just sounds like there's some staffing shortages that are just, causing the staff there to really have to scramble to get things done, and the data's just been hard to get to. So I will send email updates on that when I do receive it. Also, I wanted to mention real quickly that with use of force, we got the pepper spray and taser data for the month, but I didn't fill this column for February yet because there was a slight delay on the restraint chair data. I will also send an email update on that when we get it, but I did want to mention that we had a combined 11 pepper spray and taser and pepper spray incidents in February, which on a count basis is a little higher than normal. But I also do want to put that in context that we also have a increasing population recently. So I think on a per resident basis, it might be a tad bit higher than normal, but it's certainly not way out of the ordinary. So once I receive the restraint chair data, I will add that, and I'll add all three and send an email update as to the February use of force numbers. Moving to other windows, I wanted to talk about daily population. As you can see in the last month, it's been a struggle. We have gone up some. I guess slight bit of good news is that in the last 2 days, we've gone down 20. So we were at, we were at 949 on Wednesday and we're down to 929 today. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. But in the past month, so in late February, we were in the high 800s and now we're in the low 900s.
Aaron, do you have any explanation? Aaron or Scott or anybody, do you have any explanations for why that's going on? Because this is the highest number we've seen since 2021.
So I do have two, and Scott, you're welcome to chime in on this as well. I do have two primary sort of hypothesized causes as to what's going on. One is that there are certain crime types that we're just seeing a lot more of in the community, those particularly being resisting arrests and things, anything having to do with cars. Both of those are way up in the general public. So we're just getting a lot more people for those that are coming in from the outside. That's one. And then the other is that we've also seen over the past couple months a substantial increase in a lot of the bond conditions that are being set in court, which also might be keeping people here a little bit longer that would otherwise be released, and therefore kind of, elevating the overall population number a little bit, if that makes sense. Scott, do you want to add to that? I want to make sure I'm on track there.
Yeah, so I think that just in general, as the pandemic has officially been declared, that the emergency situation is ending, that law enforcement who had been focused more on violent offenses have broadened who they're arresting, and also there were 5,000 municipal warrants, for example, that were reactivated, and a lot of them for failure to appear, and courts had been paused, and now they're reopening and handling people at a much faster pace. So if people fail to appear, now they're coming into custody, and if you fail to appear, then bond levels tend to be higher. So there's a lot of other dynamics that I think are also at play. I will be meeting with the judges at their embankment meeting in April to talk about this and look at emphasizing how we can use some of the diversion programs that we have, like the drug court, veterans court, mental health court choices, our residential drug abuse program, our new program for GPS, and our transitional housing program to try to reduce population.
Okay, those seem like valid explanations to me. We're not at capacity yet, right?
The fifth floor is still closed, and the capacity is almost 1,250 residents. As you can see, we're about 900. We are working to continue to build our staffing level, and so all of this, all of this kind of work together. If the population continues to increase, though, we will have to open that other floor, which will require more staff.
Yeah, staffing's the bigger constraint, not
space.
Not space.
So where are we relative to last month on staffing? Have we had any more resignations?
Well, the great news is that we now, we have a class that just started of 6, have 6 more, and we have 10 others going through the background process, and we just had interviews yesterday. We have 3 career fairs that we're doing at the end of this month, next week, and so we were funded. Actually, I think I may have mentioned this to you before, that 75% of the vacancies were cut across all county departments, so we were funded at a lower level, but then we also did have 16 additional officer positions added. But by the end of this month, we will have only 2 available positions, so I have an item on the county council agenda now to request that 27 of those 54 positions that were not funded be funded, and hoping that that will be approved so that we can continue to hire.
What's your sense, having visited with some council members?
Well, I guess we never know until that passes, but there will be a committee meeting that'll be held in April for me to present our position on that, and I'm hopeful it will be approved.
Okay. Is there any thoughts from the board or any thoughts from you on if board members can be helpful?
We are always helpful.
In that regard, specifically?
I think that, yes, I think that there's room for the board to be helpful, and I think that it's, the questions that are asked here are important. The board meeting itself is helpful, and essentially we are at a point where we need that funding in order to continue to manage the population. We've had 200 additional inmates since January 1st. That requires at least 3 housing units to be opened, which would be 6 officers. If we open a new floor, then that would require 2 additional supervisors plus someone at unit control. So, we also would need additional staff if we reopen a federal contract. So, we definitely have a need for the positions, and have shown that they could be supported through revenue that we're bringing in.
And the economics of the federal contract are very good for the jail, right? And who does the county council have to approve? They have to approve anything that the jail would do to restart with the feds, right?
Well, yes, they have approval with of the budget.
Yeah. And what's the rate that the feds, as I recall, pay like $150 a day or something like that? Like, they pay much better than the state reimbursement. So restarting that contract would go a long way towards helping us support the current population at the jail of county detainees. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, the federal contract was suspended due to staff shortages under the former director.
Right.
And we do not have enough staff to reopen that now. If we are able to build the staffing levels to a point that we could, then it could bring in an additional $3 to $4 million in revenue from the contract. If we had 100 federal detainees.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to, but that would be a very helpful way as a revenue producer to help buffer us against unexpected rises in the county detainee population. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, the revenue from that goes back to the general fund.
Right.
It doesn't come directly to.
Okay.
But it definitely is helpful. And yes, the reimbursement rate is it's over 3 times the state reimbursement rate.
Okay, that's what I was driving at. Okay, thank you.
Hey, Jeff and Scott, I think it's helpful to hear Scott's point that we have been helpful some of our deliberations. In addition to the conversation you just had, I think the conversations we've had over the years and I think the council has listened. Sometimes they're actually in the listening room. Sometimes we've testified in front of them, but I think we've helped to make the case that, whereas it might seem adding an additional officer, adding an additional health worker may just seem to add to the budget, but it also could reduce it at the other end because you're reducing overtime hours or you're reducing the probability of an incident, which might be even more costly than adding an additional officer. So, I just kind of wanted to say that out loud. We've made that case, I think, pretty clearly in these meetings over the last few years.
And to be clear, and to your point, if we don't have additional staff and we need the positions covered, that would be a time and a half, which would
Right.
be 50% more costly than just hiring someone.
That's a great point. Thank you for making it, Tim.
And I think that, some of the council members have clearly gotten it. I think at least one or two of them have cycled off. So if we need to continue to make that point to them, we can.
Definitely. Okay, Aaron, back to you.
I think the other thing that I wanted to mention was that for the first time in the last 2.5 years, we had an overtime hours count under 4,000. It was at 3,863 for February, so that's good. And then also, I wanted to mention that though the resident to corrections officer ratio did remain higher than it had been historically in February, this was amidst another increase of about 50 residents over the past month. So the ratio staying stable, given that the number of residents increased, is a positive sign that the number of open positions actually went down a little bit. So there's definitely some good news nested within the bad there. I think that's it from me. I'm happy to entertain any questions now.
Questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Aaron. We have a corrections
Jeff,
medicine.
I will send an email update once I have the restraint chair data, and I will fill that column on that dashboard window and send an email to you all with that new data point.
That would be great.
Yep.
That would be great. Okay, are Liz is not here to review the corrections medicine dashboard with us, and so presumably, unless there's anything, Aaron, do you have anything you want to say about the corrections medicine dashboard?
I don't, because I haven't received the data this month.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think they've been so short-staffed and a few people trying to cover all the vacancies and cover for Liz and such that it's been hard to get to. And I want to be very, patient and stuff there. So
yeah, no, we all
Yep.
read about that in the newspaper, and I think it's something that we should probably discuss at the next board meeting, and hope I will plan to check in with Liz before then and see how she's doing, and try to get a better sense of where things are so that we can maybe lift up that challenge and see how we can be helpful at our next board meeting. So let's plan to have that on the agenda then. Does that work for you, Scott? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think there may be some limitations, but.
Okay, if you could talk from a correction security standpoint and from a standpoint of wanting to ensure the health and well-being of all of our inmates and how the interface with corrections medicine affects your ability to do that, that would be a great thing to discuss at the next board meeting. Does that work?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Penny, is there any public comment?
We actually have two.
Okay.
Okay, the first one. Could you look into and discuss in this meeting the amount of money that residents pay for content on the tablets, including communication with loved ones, renting music and videos, and any other paid services? Can we also confirm that there are significant free resources on the tablet that are valued by residents? I am unclear if the educational content comes from the county libraries, Libby, Overdrive, and Hoopla subscriptions, or if it is specifically curated by the company that manages the tablet program. I believe there should be significant quality free content available on the tablets, and residents' out-of-pocket costs should be minimized. Thank you for considering Stephanie Wormlington. Okay, and the second one, I appreciated hearing at last month's meeting that Dr. Cunningham and her team will be revisiting intake processes in the county jail. I was concerned to hear that residents experience notable trauma in this process, and I expect have past trauma brought up. Are staff members trained to minimize the trauma experienced and mitigate any negative trauma symptoms during and after intake? I was concerned to hear that residents are counseled to submit to drug testing that is accessible by the prosecutor's office at such a high-stress time. I was especially concerned that residents are more likely to comply when a CO tells, suggests, or encourages them to. Is it possible to seal these records or results from the prosecutor's office to minimize the risk of collateral consequences or differential treatment from this health choice? If not, residents need to be better advised of the risks of their compliance, and nursing staff needs to better understand what consequences might come from patient participation and a positive drug drop. Thank you, Stephanie Wormlington. I'm hoping I'm spelling her or pronouncing her name right. Is it?
Any comments about the public comment?
Well, so if I may, I would say that that the board is limited to talking about under the Sunshine Law those matters that have been noticed up on the agenda, so new matters can't be introduced through the public forum, the public comment.
I can email these to the board.
But, so I would suggest that you not take up anything that wasn't previously on the agenda.
So hypothetical question, if public comment were made in person, I mean, I've seen many meetings like this where if public comment is made in person, then board members would be then sometimes responsive to those public comments made in person. How would that differ from public comments submitted via email?
First, I would say it's, you know, the agenda calls for public comment, not for dialogue with the public, so that would.
Although that does happen.
I can't speak to other,
okay,
to what other bodies do, but I would say that the board is limited to talking about the matters that it has noticed up on its agenda and should address matters that just someone introduces through the public comment process that has not been noticed up.
Okay. Well, we may revisit, if you email those comments to the board, and then perhaps we'll revisit some of them at the next board meeting. And we appreciate Ms. Wormlington?
Wormlington, yeah.
Okay. For her interest in what we're doing and for her thoughtful feedback. All right.
Jeff, if I could comment on that exchange we just had.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to, throw a monkey wrench into it, but I'm not really sure if I see the point of public comment if we can't comment on the public comment. So, if I were in a meeting and I were standing up and making a comment and the board didn't comment on my comment, I would consider it to be kind of rude and that I'd have to wait for another month to get a comment. So, if we're not going to have the ability to comment on what people say in public comment, well, then let's just take it off the agenda, because what's the point? So I agree with you, Jeff. Every other meeting I've been in, public comment is there. I chaired a committee at the state. Public comment was there, and the state leaders responded immediately. I mean, I just don't get how we can't comment on what people say.
I don't understand it either. And I don't think we can't comment on what people say. I think we're getting legal counsel that it isn't, that in the opinion of the county counselor's office, it is not advisable, but, you know, I'm not prescribing your ability to comment on it.
And I would say, Mr. Chair, just, my advice is that those matters that were addressed in these particular public comments didn't appear on the agenda of the meeting, and therefore I would advise against the board discussing those since they weren't on the note.
No, I mean, I understand fully the advice. I just think it's ridiculous. I mean, if the person we're speaking in, I mean, we both have been in public venues for many years where we see people who make public comment receive responses. And so I wanted to, yeah, I mean, I'm open to handling it however you like, Tim. I may want to get the comments in writing so I can be more thoughtful about a response to them, you know, potentially at the next board meeting, but I would want to assure the commenter that they are two issues that we would be interested in pursuing and discussing more. I think you will not see it at the next board meeting.
I guess you just heard that, and maybe that'll be a relief to everybody because it won't cause trouble about this. But I think this is a change in how we've done it in the past, because I think we have had people make public comment and we have responded on the spot.
We had Mr. Dienoff made several public comments. We had families that were impacted by events here in the facility that have made public comments, to which we responded on the spot. So you're right, the advice we've been given today would certainly be a departure from the historical norm here for our board. So given that you won't be here next month, if you'd like to address either of those two comments, you know, you're free to do so.
No, I think I'll hold back, but I would. No, I'm kind of forgetting what the comments were about because I'm.
The comment regarding the tablets and the availability of free quality content, potentially through the public library system, was one of the comments, and the second comment was
about the intake process.
And the submission of detainees to drug tests.
So let me just say that I want to thank the person who sent them those comments, and it would be great if, you know, Scott or his staff would look at those comments and figure out what's going on and give us some way to respond to that person, because those seem like good questions to me.
I thought they were both good questions. So yeah, does that work for you?
I plan to follow up individually with the person regarding both and share some great news. It'll all be good news, and we'll be glad to share it when it's on the agenda.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tim. Thank you all for your engagement, and really appreciate the time that everybody spends on this every month and in between. So all of you have a great weekend. Thank you all, staff, for what you do every day. Okay. I move that we adjourn the meeting. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.